With the release of Creed 3 coming out in just a few weeks, here is my thoughts on probably the most iconic sports movie of all time. And I am, of course, talking about Rocky. Now, before I start giving you my thoughts on Rocky, I want to talk about how this movie is pretty much an influence on all sports movies and boxing and just in general. Hell, just even about Sylvester Stallone. Without this movie, Sylvester Stallone wouldn't have the career that he has today. He wouldn't be in, like, I don't want to say probably Rambo, but he might have not even been in that movie, but he did write it. But I don't think he would have been in Rambo or Demolition Man or Judge Dredd. But anyways, without this movie, he probably wouldn't even exist. So I'm glad to see that he made a career off this movie, and hell, he even wrote the movie, and he even directed some of the movies. Actually, directed most of the sequels except for Rocky 5 and Creed 1, 2, and 3, and 1. Rocky 1. Very committed to the role though. But like I said, this movie influenced a lot of sports, like just boxing in general. People knew what it was. It was pretty popular when it first started, but once Rocky came out, it became more popular and people started watching it more, started going to it more, and just all of that. Because of Rocky, boxing is probably really famous. Like, I only recognize boxing because of Rocky, so I have to thank it for that. That out of the way, here are my thoughts on Rocky. Starting with my positives on it is, like I said, Sylvester Stallone. Like I said, this movie wouldn't, like this, because of this movie, we probably wouldn't have Sylvester Stallone as he is today. And he also is just very committed to this role. He's a pretty damn good actor in it. And he's just awesome in this movie. I'm not the biggest fan of Sylvester Stallone, but I do like him in this movie. And I do like him in the first Rambo. Thank you very much. And it's kind of a little small thing to talk about, and that is his voice. Now, me and my dad we're pretty mean people when it comes to talking about people, and we kind of make fun of Sylvester Stallone's voice in this. Now, I'm sorry if anyone takes offense to that. That's just my type of humor. What I like to joke about is when I first watched this movie, I remember when I was watching it, I'm like, I don't understand a thing you're saying, dude. It's really kind of hilarious. Like when he says Adrian's like Adrian. It's it's a weird thing to talk about, but it's just something I just wanted to mention. I also just like the overall story of this movie, where you get this regular guy that likes to box. He just likes to box pretty much, and he lives off this life. He helps this one guy who's pretty much a gangster type guy, where he gets people money. He works for him, and he pays them so he can do stuff for him, like get money from people, break people's thumbs, and all that. He's just some normal guy just trying to live in New York City, or not New York City. I forget what it's called. I want to say Philadelphia. It might have been in Philadelphia. I can't remember the place where it takes place, but it's just a really likely story. Hell, it even has like a little love story between him and Rocky and Adrian, which I like. It's not just this big movie that's just about boxing. It's also just this normal guy trying to live his life, trying to pay for his apartment, trying to pay for all the stuff that he has, and he also tries to get this girl that he really likes. It's just an interesting story that where we just follow this guy everywhere. Every scene is just about him, which I like. A lot of people may just be sitting there like, when is the boxing gonna happen? But I like sitting there just watching this movie, watching this guy just trying to live his life and all that. It's a very interesting concept, and I like it. Like I said, part of that story is the love story between Rocky and Adrian. I love their relationship in this movie. Now, I haven't watched all of the sequels. I only watched half of Rocky 2, though. It's gonna get me in trouble. But the relationship seems to get better through on the franchise is what I've heard, and I just like the relationship in this movie. I think it's a really interesting. Now at first it's kind of weird. Now here's something I wanted to talk about was when Rocky and Adrian first go on a date, which was when Paulie, Adrian's brother, was it brother? Yeah, brother. But he makes her go on this date with Rocky, and it's a bit uncomfortable seeing this, which I'm going to talk about later. Actually, no, I'll just talk about it now. Where in this relationship that we're building up to with Rocky and Adrian, Holly, which is Adrian's brother and Rocky's best friend, which I will also just talk about later, is when like Polly wants Adrian to go on a date with Rocky on Thanksgiving, which is a weird day to go on a date, which is also pretty fucked up. And she says she can't go. She says that I don't want to go. I have a turkey in the oven. He's like, you got a turkey in the oven? He goes into the kitchen and he takes the turkey right out of the cooking pot. He opens the back door and just chucks it out and just pretty much makes her and all of that. And he's forcing her to. And it's really messed up. It's it's just really uncomfortable to see where Polly's making this girl Adrian do something that she doesn't want to do. It's pretty much making her a slave. And it's really, really messed up. And I'm sitting here like, Rocky, are you not gonna do anything about this? You're not gonna like go up to Polly and like yell at him or punch him? I'm sitting there and I want Rocky to do something with this asshole just doing that. If it were me, I would have gone up to him and I would have punched him in his face for doing that. I was just sitting there wanting to jump in the screen and just strangle Polly. And I'm like, dude, just Rocky, mess this guy up. But back to the relationship status, which I really liked in it, and with the continuing about the weird things, which was when Rocky and Adrian go on their day after they're done with the ice skating thing, which is very romantic if you ask me. There's a scene where Rocky's going back to his place, his apartment, and he's about to go in, and he asks Adrian, "How about you come inside?" He's like, and Adrian goes, "No, I can't. I have to go." And he's like, "No, no, no. You should come in. You should come in and have a good time." And he's like, "No, I have to go." And he's like, "No, come in." Leaves the door open, but Adrian comes in because you're starting to get a little hint that Adrian is starting to like Rocky more. Where she doesn't know much about him at first. You can tell that she doesn't want to do much. Like she just went on this date because Polly's making her but you're slowly getting hints that Adrian is starting to like her more. And then when they're in an apartment, Rocky is sitting on the couch. He goes, come sit down and make yourself comfortable." And she's like standing there, like, "No, I don't want to." She doesn't say anything. She just stands there. She's like, "Well, don't you want to be comfortable? Come on, come sit down and all that." And I'm sitting there like, dude, this wouldn't be okay today. And that's another thing I kind of want to talk about. I know I'm getting a lot off talk about the relationship thing, but this is kind of part of it. Where I don't think this would be allowed today, and I feel that with modern audience, they would not watch it fully, which I strongly advise you just to watch the rest of the film because the relationship does get better throughout then. It, just with modern audiences, it might not feel as great, but you need to realize this movie came out in the 70s. This movie came out in 1976. So you need to realize for its time that this was fine and this was kind of a normal thing. But nowadays it's not normal. And I just wanted to clear that out. I just wanted to talk about it. That's all I wanted to say. Back to relationship. I pretty much said everything there. Rocky and Adrian, sorry, relationship in this movie is just awesome, and I like seeing those two together. They're just a cute couple, man. And I like the overall characters in this movie. Like you got Rocky, Adrian, Mickey, Hollow Creed. You get all of these people that you can't help but love, except for one character, which I kind of said his name already. I talk about. And I just like all the characters. They're all very interesting. Where Apollo's like this big boxing star, where he feels that he doesn't. All the matches that he's done, he's just kind of getting cocky, like, they're nothing. But then he wants to fight this guy that's never boxed like this before. He wants to fight Rocky. It's pretty cool. And I just like Mickey because he's just the guy who wants to help Rocky out become a bigger boxer, to become like the new icon of boxing, to become the best thing that boxing has ever had, and which I just like Mickey, which I'm pretty sure he dies in the movies, but I don't know yet. And I love the theme song for this movie, where you get like the bum ba ba bum ba ba bum ba ba bum. It's just awesome, dude. It kind of really motivates you. Like I remember when I first heard it, I just wanted to go out for a run. If I ever go on a run, which I hardly ever do, I'm gonna put headphones on, and when I'm running, I'm gonna put this song on like a 1 hour loop, so the entire time I'm running, I can just think of Rocky and just listen to that awesome song while I'm taking a jog or just working out. It's just so motivating, man. And let's talk about the scene that introduces this iconic song, and that is the training montage. It is just iconic from the beginning to end. You get the scene where he's running down the railroad tracks, pushing his hands up in the air and all that. He's working out. He's doing like one arm push ups. And then you get to that awesome scene where he runs up the steps and throws his arms in the air like he finally did it. Starts running around. He's all proud and all that. That entire training montage is just iconic. And if you were to ask pretty much anyone, if even they didn't watch the movie, people know about that. People know the training montage that this movie has, and it's just awesome. It is just awesome. It's just awesome. That's all I gotta say. And I also found it funny when I was looking on the internet about this scene. There was like a fun fact where during the scene, if you were paying attention, there's a scene where Rocky is running down kind of like an alleyway, kind of near like a farmer's market. I want to say this one guy tosses him an orange. That was not scripted. That was just some random guy. Since this movie had a low budget, they could not get the filming permits for this movie. So what this one guy did, he saw Sylvester Stallone running, and so he tossed him an orange, and Sylvester Stallone caught it, and the director thought that was so cool. He kept it in the movie, which I thought was a nice touch, and it doesn't even feel it was improvised until I saw that, and I thought it was really interesting, which I thought was cool to learn. Now let's talk about the main thing about this movie, which is probably everyone just goes to see this movie for, and that is the final battle between Rocky and Apollo Creed. It is awesome. Where this is probably Apollo Creed's biggest threat because if I when I remember from the sequel, he even says like I beat him, but I didn't. I fought him, but I didn't beat him and all that. I won the fight, but I didn't beat him and all that. Which is just an awesome battle, and I also kind of found it gross, like during the fight where Rocky said he couldn't open his eye. So what they did, they just took like a box cutter and they just cut open his eye just so he could see it again. I was grossed out by that. But yeah, it was a really gnarly fight. What else do you want to know? It was just awesome. Can you just watch the damn movie already? Now with my single negative, and it's just about a character, and that is Polly. I talked about him already. I cannot stand this guy. He is a complete prick in this film. Like I said, he threw out Adrian's turkey just so she would go on a date with Rocky, which is another thing in this film where Paulie says that Adrian wants to go on where Paulie wants Rocky to go on a date with Adrian, but he lies to him and goes like when Rocky's like, "Are you sure that Adrian knows I'm coming over and all that?" Paulie's like, "Yeah, she's excited." And like when they're about to go in the door, he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure she knows I'm coming?" And he's like, "Yeah, I promise you." She's excited. He walks in the door, and Adrian is frightened, and he even hears Adrian go, "Why did you bring him in here without me knowing?" And Rocky realizes, like, oh, my bad. He puts on his hat and he doesn't even try to leave, which I would have done. Which, I just hate Paulie pretty much. He is an absolute asshole. He makes Adrian do all this thing for him, and for some reason, this is Rocky's best friend. Why? Why is he your best friend? He's an asshole. That's all you gotta really know. Paulie's an asshole. All in all, guys, this is an awesome movie. This is one of the best sports movies out there, and an awesome start to an epic franchise, which I've heard. And I'm very excited to watch the rest of these movies. So this is a movie that you absolutely need to go out and buy it. So what do you guys think of Rocky? Is this one of your favorite movies, or for some reason do you not like it? And are you excited for Creed 3 to come out next Friday? Because I'm getting excited. And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button. But if you loved it, subscribe and hit the bell notifications so you will get notified for my latest videos. But until my next video, take care.